Start by putting it on record that as an elder of a church and as a Bible-believing Christian, we on this side are not against the building of a cathedral. However, Mr. Speaker, because we are Christians, we are not playing to the gallery. We are following the dictates of the Bible. And this is what the Bible we believe in says to us. In Luke 14:28-30, is there anyone here planning to build a new house, in this case a cathedral, who doesn't first sit down to figure the cost so you know if you can complete it? If you only get the foundation laid, and Mr. Speaker, the Bible is so telling. The Bible knew Ghana will have a president called Addo. This is what it says. If you only get the foundation laid and then run out of money, you are going to look pretty foolish. Everyone passing by will poke fun at you. He started something he couldn't finish. This is the word of the Lord. Don't you look foolish because you have only laid a foundation and run out of money. Mr. Speaker, this is not some church, this is the Bible. You don't go to church. You don't go to church. The Bible knew, God knew that we will be saddled with a president who will not calculate the cost of a cathedral. And we'll run out of money. Mr. Speaker, we have run out of money. People are walking by that place and poking fun at us and say, look at them, they are foolish. Not us, you. And you sit here today and you tell me that unless we build a cathedral, we will not have God's blessings. And you know the same people who say that we have been blessed by not having a civil war. Did we have a cathedral for us not to have a civil war? Look at the cathedrals that we have. I'm a member of the Perez Chapel International. Our cathedral seats 14,000 people. You are building a 5,000-seater cathedral. If 14,000 will not attract the blessings of God, is 5,000 built by an LGBTQ advocate that will attract his blessings? The minister sits there. The minister for Works and Housing is in this house. We are told reliably that the consultant got 34% of the value. The Minister for Works and Housing is here. He sets what consultancy limits must be. He has set it at 16%. So you sat in cabinet and watched your colleague minister pay a consultant 34%. Your ministry has set a standard and he has broken it, 16.5. And he has paid 34%. And you didn't advise him. And you tell us that it is God. And Mr. President, they tell us that if we refuse it, because Nehemiah tried to build, we are Sambalat and Tobias. Hey, wait. When they were building a temple, you've forgotten that there was Ananias and Sapphira. You used the name of God to steal. Stealing in the name of God. That is the sin of Ananias and Sapphira.
Honorable member, you have not laid evidence that anybody has stolen. So kindly withdraw that. Kindly withdraw that.
Mr. Speaker, when I said stealing, I was making reference to Ananias and Sapphira, which I did earlier. Ananias and Sapphira stole in the Bible.
You said you are stealing in the name of God. Please, if you make reference to Sapphira, please properly reference it.
Mr. Speaker, for the purposes of clarity, Ananias and Sapphira stole money for the church. And if today we are seeing a disparity of 114 million, we can't account for it. That is not being accounted for properly. Mr. Speaker, if this is not Ananias and Sapphira, I don't know what it is. But Mr. Speaker, the most important thing for me here is for us to know that we will have...
Honorable member, hold on. Yes.
The honorable member has referred to me in his response, and I think it's only fair that I correct him. I think that he's misleading the House.
Yes.
Yes. You made a point that I set the standard for consulting work for architects. But on this case, there is an exception to every rule. Yeah. It would be entirely inaccurate to just state that without stating the exceptions. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, continue.
When I said he set a standard of 16.5%. So when you say you gave exception, Mr. Speaker, I was expecting that because Eric Opoku told us we will all account before God on the judgment day, I was expecting you to ask him to show you evidence of the exception that he gave in this case. You are lying.
Honorable, what were you referring to me about Eric Opoku?
That we will all account to God. Mr. Speaker, we will all account to God on judgment day.
And then what?
And I was expecting that maybe you will ask him for evidence of the exception that he said.
Honorable members, please, don't draw me into the argument. I have a totally different interpretation from what you're saying. But if I were standing here, I'll make a different argument. Now, I'm sitting here quietly.
Very well, Mr. Speaker.
Leave me out.
Mr. Speaker, like Pontius Pilate, you have washed your hands. And I'm happy about that. But Mr. Speaker, our friends on the other side remind me of scripture again. Matthew 15:8-9, where the Bible says, these people. Hello? Matthew 15:8-9. The Bible says, these people. They honor me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. They worship me in vain, but their teachings are merely human rules. The Bible knew we will have a majority like this. Mr. Speaker, I will end here by going back into the Bible. Mr. Speaker, in the Bible, God calls only one man, a man after his own heart. And that man was David, a man after God's own heart, a man that the finance minister aspires to be like in vain. But you see, Mr. Speaker, even when David wanted to build a temple for God, he called a man after his own heart. He said, you have blood on your hands, and for that sake, you cannot build me a temple. So he puts together the materials for the temple for his son. Mr. Speaker, I end by remembering the lost 8 citizens who lost their lives in the 2020 elections. There is blood on their hand. Can we build a temple for God? Thank you very much.
Honorable member for Asing